What's up, everybody? My name's Parasite. Welcome back to the Jose Mourinho Challenge, and we're still at Sporting. Now, this isn't meant to be a traditional episode. This is more of an update video because I don't want to be at Sporting. Not that I dislike them in any ways, but we've won everything we needed to win here. So there's no reason to be here other than I need another job. And apparently, if you resign, which I did, that makes you ineligible for any actual competent jobs. It's news to me. Apparently, it declares all previous winnings null and void because that's the only thing that makes sense based on what I've experienced the past couple of days, which have been very frustrating. But before we get into that, I'm going to show you where I'm currently at with Sporting and some of the business I've done because I've sold some big players, or at least for big fees. We are 8 games into the league season, just working my way through, trying to see if I can find a point where a job becomes available. As we saw at the end of last episode, after we won the Champions League, there were no decent jobs available, and that didn't change. So we are partially way through the season. In the Champions League, we got Milan, Leipzig, once again. It seems like we play them every single year in the Champions League, and Villarreal. So, not easy. There's no massive teams in there. Milan are okay, but it's still stupidly hard compared to what we could have gotten. Like, we got literally the hardest third and fourth pot team by a mile. Like, we got a little fortunate. Milan or Leipzig were the second pot team, which we're one of the weaker ones there, but literally the hardest possible in the third, which was Milan, and the hardest possible by a freaking country mile in the fourth with Villarreal. Like, that was frustrating. We always seem to get hard groups. And I want to show you Liverpool's just in comparison because it seems like they get a cupcake every year. They got Ajax, Wolfsburg, and Apoel. The easiest second pot, the easiest fourth pot. Actually, I think Wolfsburg were second pot, which also were the easiest second pot. Ajax weren't the easiest third pot, but they were one of the lesser ones. And then Apoel, probably the easiest fourth pot. Like, that is as cupcake a group as you can possibly get in the Champions League. So frustrating. But we're part of the way through the season. We're playing really well. We've only drawn one game, and that was against Leipzig, which we dominated them away from home in the Champions League group stage. Should have won that, but we've won every league game so far, and I think we've set the record for most league games won in a row, which I don't know what the numbers are, but it's high. We'll just say it's high. We've won a lot of games in a row. We are doing really well. This team is amazing, but we have had to sell some big players. One of them, only one of them, was a first-team player, but we got good money for him, and we kind of knew it was going to happen, and we kind of already replaced him. So let's go over the sales. Eric Dyer, when he was leaving on a free, he's gone to Ulsan. He's like 35 years old now. Yeah, his physicals basically don't exist. So yeah, we don't need him anymore. He can go. Some other loanees, quite a few loanees. Carriero might not be a player you recognize. Just a young player we bought with the explicit purpose of selling him on for profit. And that's what we did. He's a winger. We don't use wingers, but it was a cheap buy, $1.2 million from Nacional. And I knew I could sell him on for a profit. And we've made quite a bit, selling him to Leicester for a little over $12 million. The second one, though, is the big one. Gonzalo Inacio. He didn't want to sign a new contract. He had refused to sign a new contract for like 3 or 4 years. And so we knew he was going to leave. This is going to be his last season here. So we sold him on for top money, $70 million to PSG. Sucks to lose him. He's started almost every single game for me, it feels like, from the start of the save. But I didn't want to lose him on a free. So I decided to get good money for him, which is what I did. There's another Mouse Suarez. He was like 5th choice center back. And when Leverkusen offer you $53 million for a 5th choice center back with no potential, you usually take it. He's okay. He's fine. I don't ever want him starting, but he's fine. But $53 million is a lot of money. Another one, Nemanja Aničić, another young player that was like, I don't even know what choice midfielder he was. He was a very, very backup midfielder. He's good, but he doesn't have any potential to grow. And we've got better, younger players that are in the midfield for our youth teams that, and again, to get good money for him, $55 million. You bought him for 8. So again, really good profit. Just made sense. Another big one, not a first team player, but a player that's been here from the start, Daniel Bragança. I wanted to upgrade the left back position, at least for a backup, because Augustine is fine. He's fine for this season, but he's going to be gone after this season. He's going to leave on a free. And we've got German Rivniera, who's the guy who's going to take over the reins afterwards. But after that, Like, Bragança just hasn't been good at left back. We moved him there just because to keep him in the team, but he's never really performed at left back. And so we decided we didn't need him in the midfield. We'll sell him on for 25 million, and he wanted to leave, so it just made sense. And then the biggest one in terms of value is Angel Quintana to Dortmund for $95 million. He was kind of similar to Caillero, where I bought him kind of knowing I would sell him on for a lot of money because he was far too good for what we paid for him. And we ended up selling him for a lot of money. $95 million. We signed him for 5. And then, 3 years later, sold him on for 95. That's what I call good business. He's a good player, but he was still 5th choice striker for us behind Carna, Thiago, Oscar Gonzalez, and Sesko. So he was never going to get great play time. He was unhappy with that case. And so to get 95 million for a player that was a little unhappy, I think it's good money. And he's the last sale we've really made. Made a couple loan outs. A lot of our young players, guys like Manuel Cabral, young striker for us. And the bigger one, Alvaro Portero, who I've got just amazing hopes for. Like, he's basically the next Bruno Thiago. He's very similar player, actually. Scarily similar. But I think he's going to turn out just the same. I think he's going to be just as good as Bruno Thiago is. And he's out on loan to a top division side in Portimonense, and he's starting for them. So that's pretty cool. But now, players we brought in. Start off, Jairo Venegas. Really cheap deal. Not a young player for the future, but basically just a B-team striker that if we had to play him, I'd be okay with that. Like, I think he's fine. 6'5", can pass a little bit. Good finishing, like, isn't terrible in any area that I value. I don't see anything wrong with that. For 750k, 7.5k a week wages, just have a depth striker, especially after Angel Quintana left, made sense. And then this is the left back we got. We've loaned him back out to Manchester United because we don't need him this year, because we wanted to loan German Rivenier out because we have Digne, who I want to start. And I don't really want to have German just as a sole backup. I want him to develop, so I want him to get first team football at a top division side. He just refused any loan offers. He did not want to go out on loan and be a starter for, like, I think Sevilla and Valencia, something like that. Both wanted him, and he just didn't want any of it. So he's going to be in and around the team this year because I couldn't let him go. So Luan, who is going to be the number 2, or maybe he could really challenge German for the starting job next year. At the very least, he's a very good backup. Much better than what we had in Daniel Bragança. Paid big money for him, 50 million, possibly raising up to 55. But he's Brazilian, so he speaks the language, should settle in pretty well, and I think he's really good. His mentals are extremely good. His physicals are also extremely good. And his technicals are good enough in the areas I want. He's got good passing, which is sometimes hard to find. He's decent enough defensively, decent enough going forward. I think he's a fine option. I was willing to be a backup on decent money. I don't know if that's actually what we paid or agreed to pay for him. Maybe it is. I don't know. It was a pretty cheap deal. I think it was around that. So I think that's fine. I think we really strengthened our left back position, which is what I kind of went into this offseason wanting to do. It was really the one area where I felt like we didn't really have much strength and depth, and our starter was 36 years old. So I felt like we needed to bring somebody in, and so we did. And then an old friend rejoined us. Ruben Vinagre came in on loan for Fenerbahce because I needed another left back. Originally, it didn't look like Daniel Bragança was going to leave. I offered him out for like 3 or 4 months, and no one had any interest in him. They said his wage demands were too much. Even when I offered to pay half of his wages, they still thought it was too much. So I was like, okay, he's just not going to be able to leave. So I then went out and loaned out Mateus Pereira, who's kind of would have been 4th choice left back with German staying here. So I thought I'd just loan him out, get his wages off the books. Have him back next year when he can be a 3rd choice left back. Hopefully Bragança will leave by then. And then Brighton came in for Bragança. And with how hard it was to get rid of him in the first place, I thought, okay, I'm just going to have to accept that. And so I needed a 3rd left back. And then Ruben Vinagre was available. He knows the team. He knows the language. I thought it just made sense. So he's going to be a 3rd choice left back for us. And then Lewis Grimshaw. With Angel Quintana leaving, we needed another striker. A 6th choice guy, so he didn't have to be good. And I didn't want to pay him much. And we're paying him nothing. They agreed to send him to us for 0 in wages and 0 in monthly fees. And he's not even awful. Like, he's pretty decent. Like, he's actually pretty similar to, I forgot his name already, Angel Quintana. In terms of, like, his attributes. Like, he's a good dribbler. So was Angel. Not quite as good physically. I mean, he's quite a bit younger. but he's a good passer still, a really good technique. And he's not bad in any area other than maybe a little bit low finishing with 12. But as a 6th choice striker, being paid nothing, I think that's good business. I sold one on for 95 million, and I brought one in that I'm paying nothing for, literally nothing, as a 6th choice. Yeah, I think that's pretty good business. So why am I still at Sporting? Well, to run you through the last few days I've had, I finished that Champions League final, and then I went on to finish the Liga Portugal final, which we won, which made sure we won every single trophy possible in this season. The best season you can possibly have. We had. And then I went through the FIFA Club World Cup, which was our first time, so I wanted to play it, and it didn't go well. We lost 4-1 to Gremio somehow. I don't know either. We just were awful for some reason. And so we got knocked out in the group stage. That was annoying. But ultimately, we just won the Champions League, the Liga Portugal, the league, every other competition available to us. I don't think it mattered, really. So after that, I didn't want to play this entire season or however long it's going to take to find a new job. So I decided to resign. I thought, you know what? I can just resign. I can holiday until a job becomes available because there were no jobs available. And so that's what I did. I did make a save point before because I thought something stupid might happen. Turned out to be the case. So I made a save, I resigned, and then I holidayed until a job became available. And that didn't happen until about the end of December. Between the end of the last season and the start of December, the best job that became available in that span was Wolfsburg. Literally the best by a mile. There were no other decent jobs at all that became available. And I looked at their team. They were bad. Somehow they finished 3rd in the Bundesliga, Farmers League and all. But they were just legitimately bad. Like, their starters would really struggle to make it into my backups. Like, it was not good. So I had no interest in going there. And so I had to wait even further. Till about the end of December, the Atletico Madrid job became available. Pep Guardiola was their manager, and he got sacked. And so that was the first actual competent job, I thought, that became available. So I applied. And then I looked at their team. And it was better than Wolfsburg, but it still wasn't good. They had a few pretty good players, but they were also extremely old. Extremely old. So the fact they weren't good and they were very old, and to make it even better, they offered me, I think, $3 million in transfer budget for January. They had okay finances, so they had no money, old players, and no talent. Wasn't super interested in going there. So I held off even longer. I applied for it. I did the interview and all that just to have as a backup option. But I wanted something better, and I felt like I should have been able to get something better. And then I think right at the start of January, the Liverpool job became insecure. They didn't fire him. He just became insecure. And literally, like, the day it happened, the day they went insecure, I saw that, and I declared interest in the job with the idea of getting their manager sacked. And a few days later, they sacked their manager. Literally, like 3 days after the job became insecure, they sacked them. And they said, like it was said in the press release, that it was because of my interest. They literally put my name in there, said because of the interest I declared in the job, they sacked their manager. So I thought, okay, it's a formality. Just before, like, the last season we just played, where we won the Champions League and all, they had offered me the job in that offseason as well. After I'd finished 2nd in the league and got knocked out of the semifinals of the Champions League. So after I won it in every other cut possible, I thought, and they sacked the manager because I had interest. Like, it should have been handed to me the second I declared interest. So I went through the whole process, did the interview, went well. I wasn't even super demanding or anything like that. I thought it was pretty reasonable. I was okay with the wage they gave me, okay with the transfer budget they gave me. I asked for a little bit of compensation for staff because I wanted to bring in my assistant manager. And they strung it out until the end of the transfer window, even though the job became available like the 5th of January. They went the entire transfer window and waited till it ended to actually look to start appointing a manager, which is annoying, but I thought, the team's good enough. It shouldn't be that big of an issue. And then they didn't offer me the job. So, yeah, I don't know. They sacked their manager because of my interest. They had already offered me the job when I was far less qualified. And then because I've been unemployed for like 4 months because I didn't want to manage Sporting while I'm looking for a new job, apparently that meant that my Champions League win is null and void and means nothing. So they gave it to somebody else. Another slap in the face was who they gave it to. Marcelo Gallardo. He is the manager of Barcelona, but he's managed them for 1 season, and he's been in Europe total for like 5 seasons. And before this 1 season with Barcelona, He won absolutely nothing. He has won one trophy in Europe. I've won the league like 6 times, 5-6 times. I've won the Touch de Portugal 5-6 times. I've won the Allianz Cup like every single year. And I've won a Champions League. But apparently because he's currently employed by Barcelona and won a league, he's far more qualified than I am. Even though he got knocked out in the first knockout round of the Champions League, his only season at Barcelona, the one that I won with the 6th best league, a team in the 6th best league in Europe. Apparently winning the league, winning La Liga with the best team in La Liga is more impressive than winning the Champions League with Sporting. Make it make sense. And I don't even know how he got the Barcelona job, by the way. So at first he was at River Plate, which who cares? It's Argentina. I don't put any value in that. Then he got the Sevilla job somehow, and he finished 9th and got sacked. Great start. And that somehow got him the Napoli job. Still don't understand. But in Napoli, he finished 8th in the Serie A, but he was the runner-up in the Europa League. So didn't win a single thing. 8th in the league with Napoli. Didn't win a single cup. Didn't win the Europa League. I won the Europa Conference League and the Champions League. And then that somehow got him to Leipzig, where he didn't win anything. He took over a Leipzig team that had just won the league the year prior, and he finished 3rd. And apparently that's enough to get him the Barcelona job. And then in his 1 year at Barcelona, he won the league, and apparently that was enough to give him the Liverpool job over the guy who had won the Champions League just like 4 months prior, whatever it was. I don't understand. Apparently being unemployed just ruins everything. It's just so dumb. So what I did is I had made another save right before I had the Liverpool interview because, again, I thought something stupid might happen. And so I went back to that one and I answered everything perfectly. They told me what transfer budget they were going to give me. I said, I'll take far less than that. I don't even need close to that much money. About the staff compensation. Don't need any. Keep all your money. I did ask for the same wages that they offered. Wages are pretty important. I didn't want to have crap wages, so I accepted that. But every other answer, like they even talked to me about being in for a couple other jobs. Literally one. I applied for literally one job in my entire career, and that was Atletico Madrid. And I told them, you know what? I will drop out of consideration for the job. That is how much I want this job. Apparently didn't matter. They still offered it Gallardo. So what I did then is like, okay, I'm not going to get the Liverpool job apparently. It's literally impossible. Even though I just won the Champions League, I couldn't be more qualified. There's no more qualified manager for this Liverpool job ever. But apparently I can't get it. So whatever. The Barcelona job is going to become available. And that's another kicker. Gallardo didn't even take over immediately. He took over at the end of the season. So Liverpool were willing to just write off an entire season just to hire someone far more qualified than me. So yeah, I thought, okay, end of the season, I'll take over Barcelona. They had also offered me the job the same time Liverpool did 2 seasons prior after I'd finished 2nd and not won the Champions League. So that hopefully they won't be as stupid. They were stupid. They didn't offer me the job either. And the manager they chose over me was Arne Slot, which he's actually more accomplished than Gallardo was. So, okay. But he still had only won, I think, 2 trophies, maybe 3 in Europe since the save started. And they were a while ago. He hadn't won one in a couple years. I just won the Champions League. But we go back. He started out at Feyenoord. And in 2022, he won the Europa Conference League. I also won it. And he finished 3rd in the Eredivisie, and I think he won the cup. I think it was the next year. He won the cup next year and won Eredivisie. And that got him the Roma job, where he won the Europa League. So he has already matched Gallardo with that Europa League win. But again, it was in 2024, and I'm pretty sure that was his last trophy. He finished 2nd in Serie A, didn't win anything else, and went to Arsenal and didn't win a single trophy. Runners up in the Europa League, 6th in the Premier League, didn't win a single thing. 4th in the Premier League, runners up in the Europa League once again, didn't win a single thing. And then one more, 4th in the Premier League, didn't even finish 2nd in the Europa League, didn't win anything. Didn't win a single trophy since 2024 with Roma. And in his first season at Milan, he finished 10th. Somehow didn't get sacked because of that. Won nothing. And then he finished 2nd in the Serie A, which is fine. You know, that's decent. But didn't win a single trophy. And apparently he's still more qualified than the man who just won a Champions League with the 6th best team in the 6th best league in Europe. So this is just a warning to all you football manager players out there. Don't resign and don't let your contract run out, because if you're unemployed, apparently you cannot get jobs that you are massively overqualified for. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to continue playing through the season with Sporting. I'm going to stay here because apparently you have to be employed to get a job that you've already been offered when you were less qualified. So I'm going to continue playing through the season until a job becomes available. Hopefully it won't take too long. Hopefully we can get to January again and maybe the Liverpool job will come available again. And if I walk that interview and get the job immediately, I'll be annoyed because I'm not going to be any more qualified. I'll just have been employed, and that'll be the only difference. And if I don't get the job, I don't know what to think, because they literally offered it to me before I was as qualified as I am now. And if I'm employed just off winning a Champions League, just off winning every single cup possible, and I still don't get it, I might just quit. So that's an update on why I haven't posted a video in the past couple of days. I'm working on it. I'm going to try to get to January or however long it takes me as quick as possible. But, you know, I've got other commitments. I can't play FM all day and all night. So I'm going to do the best I can to get there. I'm still hoping to get a video out by Friday. But, I mean, it's a lot of different factors. How much I can play. If a job is actually going to become available. If I'm even going to get that job. Because there's really no point to bringing back episodes with Sporting. The games are meaningless in the context of the save. So next episode, whenever it is, I will finally have a new team. Hopefully it's a good one. If you made it this far, why don't you like the video, subscribe, and click the bell. The links to all my socials and my Twitch are in the description. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time, whenever that is.